Hey everyone, I'm Bobby Sylvester of the FantasyPros Football Podcast, and today I've got my top 5 waiver wire pickups for Week 6. Now this week's waiver wire is very strange. There's really nobody that's a great pickup, but 7 or 8 guys who could be number 1 on this list, so it all depends on your needs and situation. If you need a streaming quarterback, even Gardner Minshew could be number 1 with his matchup against the Saints, or Gerald Everett if you need a tight end. But I've got 4 wide receivers and 1 running back on my list, so let's move on to it at number 5, where I've got Devante Parker, wide receiver of the Miami Dolphins. The number 5 and 6 spot on this list was a deadlock between Parker and teammate Preston Wilson, the rookie. Both have a killer matchup at home against Washington this week and have a weighted opportunity of 0.51, so their role in the offense is pretty much the same. The only difference is that Parker has much more upside because of the possibility of a trade in the coming weeks to a better offense. At number 4, it's another wide receiver. This time, it's Demaryius Thomas of the New York Jets. Chris Herndon may be coming back, and the Jets have decent alternative receiving options in Jamison Crowder and Le'Veon Bell, but there's a chance we've got the Jets' number 1 receiving option for the rest of the season in Thomas, and keep in mind Sam Darnold's coming back too. Thomas had 950 plus yards in 6 straight seasons before 2018 when he had to deal with a midseason trade and some injuries, and Thomas had 9 targets in Week 5 as well. At number 3, it's Donte Pettis, wide receiver of the San Francisco 49ers. He was drafted as a player we expected to be Jimmy G's top option and with wide receiver 2 upside, but he was injured in the preseason, and he's become a fantasy afterthought. Now, if he ends up playing 80% of the snaps Monday night, regardless of what he does, he should be picked up in every league, as he would immediately retain that upside in an increased role. At number 2, it's the only running back on the list, Alexander Mattison of the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this pickup isn't going to help you right now, but then again, no running back who's going to be available in most leagues is going to help you right now. The appeal with Mattison is that no one on waivers has more league-winning upside. If anything were to happen to Dalvin Cook, who hasn't exactly been the epitome of health, Mattison would take over his role and could run wild on the NFL as a rest of the season running back 1. And at number 1, we move back to wide receiver, where I've got Deante Johnson of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Did I mention it's ugly out there this week? Most weeks, this pickup wouldn't even make the top 5 additions, but he's number 1 because of his role since Mason Rudolph took over in Pittsburgh. Johnson now has 11 receptions through the last 2 weeks, and while he didn't do anything against the Ravens' tough defense Sunday, he should benefit from Casey Hayward shadowing Juju Smith-Schuster in Week 6, then a cake matchup against the Dolphins in Week 8. Alright guys, that's all for my top 5 waiver wire pickups for Week 6. Make sure to let us know what you think in the comments section, and like and subscribe for future content. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your football.